Hi, this is Wesley,
This is Ka'shenia.
and we would like to welcome you to the Underground Geek Shack.
Geek Shack. We're going back to Zoom edition for various reasons, but we're here, we're talking, and I have to say it's been a little bit of a minute, hasn't it?
Yeah, for the most part.
For the most part. There's been some, I guess, real world changes between the both of us. I'm in the midst of moving, so my face won't be shown for a minute, but I will be back in person, hopefully sometime soon.
Mm-hmm.
But until then, we're doing some Zoom editions. But I mean, I guess before we continue going forward, how have you been, Wesley? Like I said,
right.
it's been a minute.
I've been good. Took a break here and there.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, my writing journey's still going good.
That's good. As I said, I'm in the midst. I've moved and I'm in my new location. So if you hear echoey sounds in the background, there's a reason for that. But for me, myself, I'm getting back into drawing and stuff like that, hoping to have some animations, hoping to do some animations for the podcast. So hopefully moving forward, there'll be a lot of changes and happenings with the podcast and everything itself. But today is not a day of recollection on our recent lives. Today we're going to be recollecting a particular anime.
Yep, called Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer Season 2. I am a little bit embarrassed to say this, but it's taken me this long as of, what's today's date? We'll say April 20th of 2024 to finally watch Season 2. Even though technically I kind of already watched Season 2. We talked about the movie.
Wrong. You watched the last 2 episodes of Season 2, the Entertainment District arc.
I knew how Season 2 ended.
You knew how it ended. You never knew how it started or how the yeah.
Which I have to say, the in-between when they were actually like moonlighting as geishas or... I guess not really as geishas, but when they were in the actual...
the geisha was Daki. What you talking about?
But no, so when our main trio, Zenitsu, Inosuke, and Tanjiro, when they were moonlighting as, the geishas inside the houses, I was thinking to myself, I don't know how this is going to go. This is terrible. Why would they do that? But actually, it worked out in their favor. Specifically, Inosuke was like, yo, I'm all good. I just don't have to talk. But he was pissed the entire time. He was like, dang it, what am I supposed to do then?
I find it interesting, the fact that with Tengen Uzui, the fact that he literally comes from a village of ninjas.
That's actually pretty interesting. And I was thinking about this because if we go back to the last anime we were talking about, Hell's Paradise, where there is actual villages of ninjas within that story as well, it's just interesting because if you do think back to that time period in Japan, different villages and stuff like that did specialize in different things. So you can, kind of guess that there were probably villages of samurai and stuff like that. And ninjas, real life ninjas, are a little bit different than what anime has shown, obviously. But I mean, they still do the stealthy techniques. There are disguises and hiding styles and stuff like that. They're just not as flamboyant as what Naruto or, Demon Slayer shows you. Also, it's very interesting how we are seeing different styles of Hashira, because before Lord Tengen, the Hashiras we usually think about are, traditional swordsmen that mimic samurai styles. So, they always have a katana and stuff like that. The one difference was not shinobi, the girl's name, the one who isn't strong enough to cut off the head, but she has the tip of her sword in the flower.
You're talking about Shinobu.
Shinobu, okay. Because I know her name was like similar to Shinobi. I was like, it's not Shinobi, it's Shinobu. Okay, so we did see a difference in fighting styles with Shinobu, but let's think back to it. We have, is it Ginyu? I'm so terrible with some of these names.
You talking about Giyu,
Okay,
the water Hashira?
we have Ginyu. We have the one that trained Tanjiro. We have Rengoku. They're all traditional. We have Tanjiro, we have Zenitsu, and we have not much Inosuke. Inosuke is a little bit more of a wild card.
The
But
one who trained Tanjiro was Urokodaki.
Urokodaki. Okay. Like I thought his name was like long for some reason. I was like, I know it starts with a U, but I cannot remember the rest of the letters. Like
It's
I said,
Urokodaki. He was the water Hashira before Giyu.
Yeah. And then we even think back to like Rengoku's dad. He was also a Hashira.
Mm-hmm. Rengoku's dad was the first fire breathing Hashira that we know of, and then after his wife passed and everything, he wasn't able to live up to the expectations, and so Rengoku was like, "Hey, yo, I'm gonna take over, your job as being a Hashira," and his dad was like, "You'll never make it," and look at Rengoku now.
It's I know. Well, yeah. Unfortunately, he has passed away, but he has lived up to the title of Flame Hashira.
Yeah,
I would say if it wasn't for the fact that his father was so, I mean, even in the end, his dad eventually atones for the fact that, yeah, he's extremely proud of his son. But when we first meet him, we'll get to that in a moment. Because that first episode, man, I was upset. But before we get to that, I just wanted to say that so far we've seen traditional swordsmen as the Hashira. So you're thinking, okay, they're all just basically samurai with maybe just like a couple of exceptions or whatever. It's interesting to see a very strong Hashira that isn't a swordsman, because Lord Tengen, or just Tengen, he is a ninja. He mostly just used ninja techniques and stuff like that, and you can tell by his fighting style. And then, with his weapons, he's not using traditional sword technique, because when it came to like the different the different breathing styles, he has the sound breathing styles and stuff like that. And to incorporate it with ninja techniques, I was just kind of like, okay, cool. We're going to see different fighting styles. So now I'm interested, because I know with the next arc is the Swordsmith arc.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I keep thinking back to the freaking movie, and the movie upsets me because it's not even a movie. But anyway, with the Swordsmith arc, we get to go to Swordsmith Village and stuff like that. But that's not for this episode. That's for later on. So when it comes to this, before we get really, really deep into it, my main question to you is, because you read the manga before you got to this part, right?
Yep.
I want to say you started reading the manga right after season 1.
I think it was like during the first 2 episodes, and then I read it, and then I got pretty much caught up.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. But ask away. What's your question?
So when it comes to how season 2 went, would you say it followed the manga pretty closely?
Yeah.
Would you say overall, for how many seasons, what we're in season 3?
I mean, they changed like little things, but to the point where you really wouldn't be able to notice.
I'm kind of curious now, because, after watching season 2, what little things did they change in season 2 from the manga?
There's one where, so it's after the whole explosion. I know I'm fast forwarding.
No, it's fine.
There's a moment where after the whole explosion from Gyutero's blood sickle, blood art, and it destroys all of the entertainment district. And he's walking up to to Tanjiro, and he's like, you're a disgrace, you're this, you're this, you're this, you'll never be able to save your sister and everything. And in the manga, Tanjiro literally throws a rock at Yutaro before throwing the kunai. And
Interesting.
whereas in the anime, he literally throws, and I kind of understood the switch that he threw. It says that what shows that he threw the wisteria at Yutaro, and then the kunai hidden within the wisteria itself. And I was like, okay, I can understand that switch. It was minor, but it still got the point across nonetheless.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Also, I kind of like the world building as well, and some of the world building it makes sense. So I am kind of fast forwarding still, but still talking about Lord Tengen, how it is kind of easily explained as to the reason why he has 3 wives. Because okay, the main arc of the entertainment district is there's a demon in the entertainment district. It's causing havoc and stuff like that. Lord Tengen sent his 3 wives in to get recon, and then all of a sudden he stopped getting, regular letters and stuff like that. So he first was like, I need women to go in there for me because I can't look in as a male. I can't get deep into the houses and figure out what's going on without raising suspicion. So I need women. That's why he was that the scene at the butterfly manor where he was kidnapping the 2 girls, and I was just like, what?
Where he took Aoi and one of the other girls. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like all a big misunderstanding at first, where he's holding, one of the, I call them like the triplets, one of the little triplets, and then not Shinobu. You said Aoi.
Yeah.
Because what was the reason why he couldn't take the triplet? Because she wasn't even in the core. She was just for the manor.
Yeah.
And, they were like, yeah, she's only a child too. And he's like, ugh, I can't have her. I'm like, excuse me? You can't just treat her like that. And Aoi she's not even truly initiated in the Demon Slayer core.
But she still knows how to fight, though.
She still knows how to fight.
That's really all Tengen needed. He just needed you to go in, get the recon done, find his wives, and get out.
And I was just kind of like, dang. At first he came off as just non-caring and stuff like that. But when you think about it, it does make sense. He needed the girls. And so Tanjiro was like, we'll volunteer ourselves. And I'm just kind of like, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. Do you know, as someone who is well-versed into anime culture and Japanese culture, I know what the entertainment district is without needing to be explained what an entertainment district is. There's a history in Japan where in real life it's called the red light district and stuff like that. Japanese culture, they don't want to be open. Well, back then they didn't really want to be openly sexual and stuff like that. And I don't want to say it was illegal, but in order for mostly men to relieve their pleasures and stuff like that, and to do more seedy activities, and for the government not to really crack down on them, they would have a secret district called the red light district that was only operational at night. So then only at night would this district be operational and stuff like that, where you see usually geishas, escorts, and stuff like that. The scenes where you saw the women behind the wooden bars for men to look at and to be like, I want to purchase her and stuff like that, that was an actual thing. That's not just this is anime thing. No, this was like an actual thing that they would do during these times. Especially back, not really, well, this doesn't take place during the Edo period, because we hear Daki literally say, idiot, that was back in the Edo period when shinobis were existing.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more shinobis left in the world. So I don't know the exact time period Tanjiro's adventure takes place in, but this was like an actual thing back then. So seeing that representation and hearing that explanation throughout this thing is kind of good because Demon Slayer is actually teaching this generation of anime watchers a little bit more about the past of Japan.
Hmm.
Because let's be honest, when you look at a lot of anime nowadays, we see modern Japan. We don't really take a look of modern or future Japan. We don't take a really good look at past Japan depicted in an accurate manner. Now, Demon Slayer is not completely accurate, but I mean, it's accurate enough. As someone who studied Japanese history, I'm like, this is good enough. I'm happy. But I feel like I went into a whole tangent
You kind of
about.
did.
I did. I just realized. But no, so Tengen, he did come off as arrogant and stuff like that. But when you think deeply about his plan and how he was depicted in the first episode, he is literally just very concerned about what happened to his wives. And so Tanjiro getting himself all mixed up with this and going forward with everything, I was kind of worried about how this would be seen as, because when you think about it, it is very alarming as to what was happening. And Daki was very slick with how she was operating because she was still working, she was still doing what she needed to do, and she could completely blend in because the entertainment district is all about beautiful women, and she is the most beautiful woman
True.
depicted. And she worked. She did really good work, and the house lord, the house lords, the lords of the houses and stuff like that, they were willing to turn a blind eye because she was profitable, even though she was a demon. And some of them eventually figured out that she was a demon, and you know what she did?
They mainly turned a blind eye in the way of how she was treating majority of the staff.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, yeah, you have all this praise and everything that you're doing all this, good job, the work and everything.
Yeah. And we
But then
even
it was like when it
hear.
came to like the staff of the house and everything, then she's like, oh well, don't touch me. You're like on the lower end of the totem pole. Why are you talking to me?
Yeah, you're low earning, you're not even
And
worth it. Beauty is
so
everything.
whereas like the owners are like, hey, you might not want to talk to them like that, but then when they look at Docky, they're like, we're gonna let that slide. We're good. We need to stay in good standing.
But
Whereas,
then when the woman was trying to like talk to her, she's like, "You making a lot of people, and these people are committing anushiku. I forgot the exact term, but basically running away without paying their debts."
right, yeah,
Or they said even those who choose not to run away will willingly like kill themselves because they're terrified of what you are doing to them. When
yeah,
she figured it out, Daki was like, I'll make it look like a bloody accident. And that's exactly what she did. Because she's just like, you forgot your place. You forget the one who's earning you the money. I won't even eat you because you're not even pretty enough to be eaten. Don't worry. We'll just make it look like it's an accident. And then threw her off a building. Like, Jesus
yeah. I mean,
Christ.
she's Docky has killed a lot of people within that district because, and even though she's killed them, nobody was the wiser. Nobody knew.
Nobody was wiser because those who did know would keep their head down and keep moving forward, or those who did figure out and was threatening to do something about it, she's just kind of like, this is nighttime,
Or even the
can.
fact of like when she would kill people, she would instantly use your her freaking her obi to
Yeah.
grab them and then bring them under the house or under wherever it was and then bring it down to wherever Docky was.
Which I
So
find it interesting that Daki was working with another demon. Technically, she's working with two other demons because we figured out towards the end of the season who the second demon she was working with, because as we found out, she is not the true. She's higher. She's higher six. Yeah, one of the upper six moons, right?
yeah,
Well, not her, but we found out she's not one of the upper six moons. It's her brother, and that's the only reason why she holds the status. And it's weird that they don't share a body, but they kind of do. Because we do see that he comes out from her back and he can make it to where one of his eyes is on her. Their whole, like, their brother and sister, their whole dynamic is a little bit weird. They don't share a body, but he lives within her. Anyway, moving forward.
The thing is that, like, with Daki and Gyutaro, it's the fact of Daki is more of the face,
Well,
and Gyutaro's more of the muscle.
And I mean,
And
we even see that
it plays back into how they grew up, and so
the first demon that we see that she's working with is the Ubi demon, which I have to say, when it comes to her using her powers and stuff like that, I actually kind of find it pretty cool the way that Ufotable kind of animated her, because they did use, you can tell it's CG, but like it's kind of
wait, did you just call the Obi a demon?
The Obi is a demon.
The Obi is something that Daki uses. It's literally part of her utility. So it's still Daki nonetheless.
But no, because when I was thinking about when they encountered the,
like, it's part of Daki.
Well, yeah, it's part of Daki, but Daki like still communicated with the Obi, because I remember she was threatening the Obi, and she's like, "I need you to get rid of these people, and I need at least 10 women." There was a scene, I specifically remember a scene where the Obi was just like getting pissed by the fact that she was being encountered. She was dealing with difficulties, and she found out, some of the Demon Slayer Corps was there, and she was just like, "Ugh, I need to handle these people," and stuff like that. But then Daki kind of like talks to the Obi demon specifically. There's a scene, and I'm just kind of like, the Obi demon is different from Daki. I know Daki can control Obis that are connected to her, but like this specific one was like different for some reason. I don't know if I'm misremembering something, because I just remember that the Obi had like a face on it specifically, not the bodies of the women and stuff like that. But I'm not crazy. Wesley, you remember this, right?
I know. You're not crazy.
I was just like, I'm remembering this correctly, right?
Because it's, it's still part of Daki. It's just the fact of, like, if Daki's in a stationary place and, she's in a place where nobody else can see her, then she'll be like, okay, well, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. And, so she split herself up a little bit. So then half of herself is still within the Obi. So then she can still be like, hey, I need you to go do this.
Yeah. Okay. So it still is Daki.
Yeah.
Okay. And I find that pretty interesting, because Daki really did find the perfect place to operate at. This was the most perfect place for her. It only operates during the night, so it's not weird that she's not seen during the day. Even then, when it was daytime, we mostly saw just some men walking around out and about in the day. The women stay indoors. Mm-hmm. So it's essentially just a perfect place for a demon to be. And surprisingly, I was personally surprised. Well, I guess not really.
I was more surprised at the fact of how easily Daki was able to get taken out.
Yes, because she was seen to be such a formidable foe and stuff like that. For her to get decapitated a total of 4 times. Because
first time she got taken out was by Tengen, and that was just effortlessly, because she didn't even realize that her head got cut, and she was still talking, and then her head just falls into her hands.
She was pissed off. She was, oh my God. He was like, is she really throwing a fit? Wait a second. Why is she not disappearing?
And then the moment when she said brother, I was like, brother, what are you talking about? I was like, hello?
And then the second time she got decapitated was, again, effortlessly by Tengen, when he was figuring out, how can I defeat these two.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it clicked, he was like, it has to be done at the same time.
Right.
Third time she got taken out was by Inosuke when he did, his little like not chainsaw thing, but like the saw motions.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course the fourth time was the final time when the final confrontation
With Zenitsu and Inosuke taking out Daki, and then Tanjiro and Uzui taking out Gyutaro.
Gyutaro, yeah.
But I wanna talk about the fight that happens between Gyutaro and Tengen.
Oh, do you mean not the movie? This is
we're
pre-movie.
We're talking about the fight that happens between Gyutaro and not Daki. I keep wanting to say Daki and freaking Tengen. That fight, well, they were going in.
They were. And you know what? I know this isn't about the movie. I definitely know this is not about the movie. But anyway, we'll talk about how the quote unquote movie started, because it started in the most awkward way possible. But anyway, the actual fight between Gyutaro and Tengen, that was epic.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were so many like mind games being played at the same time and stuff like that. Gyutaro's figuring out how Tengen works and stuff. He didn't see Tanjiro as a formidable foe, which ended up being his downfall. Well, yeah, we'll talk about this fight first, but I do want to also talk about the fight between Nezuko and Daki.
Right, because there's something there too that I want to discuss too.
Yeah, but so we'll talk about this fight first since you brought it up first. What were your full thoughts on it?
Like when they were going at it, like the sheer speed at the fact of how fast they were moving to the point where Tanjiro couldn't figure out what was going on. All he literally saw was flashes. And I was like, yo, this is giving me DBZ vibes. Because like the moment that I'm talking about is when it's during the Cell games and everyone's like, it's when Goku and Cell are fighting each other and everyone's looking around and they're moving so fast we can barely keep up with their movements. And yeah, so that was that little moment for me, and I was like, okay, this is the power of a Hashira against an upper rank demon. I was like,
so
okay.
Funny. It's so funny when you say this gives you DBZ vibes, because I mean, if we remember episode 2 where he's just like, this is the power of the Gala Festival. There's so many DBZ references in this season specifically, but because there was a moment where we weren't really all that focused within the fight between Tengen and Gyutaro, when it was focusing on Inosuke and Zenitsu going after Daki, because Tanjiro was the one to tell them that, hey, we need to cut their heads off at the same time. And even Tanjiro was like, go after Daki, she's the weaker one.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, if that's weak, that's freaking terrifying, because we've seen her powers. We saw how even Tanjiro couldn't defeat her on his own.
Yeah, he was literally he was no. He was literally about to kill himself in order to fight Daki.
Oh yeah,
because the bloodshot eyes that he had, and he wasn't breathing, and he was using flame breathing and water breathing at the same exact time, and it got to a point where one of his siblings literally had to say, Tanjiro, breathe. And the moment Tanjiro, really as soon as Tanjiro sat there and inhaled, his body started collapsing, and I was like, oh no. And at that point, because at that point, that was when Daki started freaking out. Daki was freaking out because she sat there and saw Koichiro, and Koichiro's the dude who slayed Muzan multiple times, and she saw him. She didn't know who he was, and she is like, "Who is this dude? This must be Muzan's memory." And then how it overlapped with what she was seeing of Tanjiro.
Mhm.
And then she was like, "Oh no, I'm about to die."
Yeah, like that's when, because at first she was just like, this is just a weakling. Then when he started to power up, but little did we know, he's slowly killing himself in the process. That's when she's like, hold on, wait a second. There's something really, really different.
Yeah.
And then we get into that beautiful fight between Nezuko and freaking Daki. I just have to say, Nezuko, she held her own. At first, I was so pissed by the fact that Daki was just like, you're so weak. All you know how to do is kick. And she was like cutting her up and everything. And I was just like, no, my precious Nezuko getting chopped to pieces. Freaking, I was surprised Tanjiro didn't go into a bloodshot rage at that moment. But then again, he was knocked out, unfortunately. That fight between Daki and Nezuko, freaking insane. But the fact that Nezuko, at first, it looked like she was losing because she didn't power up and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, if it wasn't for the fact that Tanjiro was knocked out completely, he would have gone to a bloodshot rage seeing the fact that Nezuko lost her leg. Like she was decapitated too.
Yeah, like her head was decapitated, her limbs were decapitated, but she was able to regrow them really quickly. She was able to regenerate them faster than Daki was able to decapitate them.
Yeah, and then she continued doing what Daki was making fun of her for. Do all you know is how to kick.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, "Oh, don't worry, my kicks get powerful." It was interesting seeing when Nezuko leveled up. Like, what caused her? She saw, because I know at first when she was trying to fight, she was just regular Nezuko.
Mm-hmm.
But then I forgot what was the exact trigger that caused her to power up.
I'm trying to remember. It's been a minute since I watched it.
And I just remember
it might have been like one of her either it might have been her mom or it might have been like one of her siblings that might have said something again to her that might have said something to her to like help her level up. But like I know when it happened, she became more feral at that point because there was a moment where a woman's face got slashed or her arm got slashed or something, and Nezuko instantly smelt the blood and was about to go and tear the woman apart. And at that point, because remember, that was when Tanjiro was like, hey, Nezuko would never eat anyone. And, if she does, then, I'll commit seppuku. And Tanjiro said that if Nezuko sat here and ate anyone, then he would commit seppuku along with Giyu and Orokodaki. And so in order for that to not happen, he charged in and told Nezuko, don't do it, Nezuko. And then Nezuko ended up biting him. And then that's when he had to, try and sing her a lullaby, try to get her to stop. Because at this point, Uzui was like, yo, your sister's getting out of hand. You need to, do something to help her regain control. And he was like, I don't know. I'm doing everything I can. And Uzui's like, why not just sing to her? And then so he's trying to, sing to her to get her to stop and calm down. And which at this point, it's when
he chose to sing the song that his mother used to sing. But yeah, so it was interesting how he decided to use the song that his mother used, because first off, that's smart to do. It's the one thing he's like, this has to be the thing that wakes her up out of it. And then when we saw that transition of the mother singing and everything, and Nezuko finally realizing, I was just like, oh, the absolute heartache. And then we see her go back to baby Nezuko.
Well, no, because like when she started crying and everything, and then the thing that kind of hit me when I was watching it was Tanjiro got a chance to mourn his family.
Yeah.
But Nezuko never did.
Because
remember, she was being turned into a demon.
Yeah.
And then
she's not even in the right place of mind at this moment where, you know, she could properly process, because she's still dealing with the fact that she's trying to fight back. Because most of the time, Nezuko is sleeping.
Yeah.
You know, in season 1, she spent a lot of time sleeping. She only woke up for a couple of times. And during those times, it was to help Tanjiro fight a demon. Even now, she was sleeping and then she woke up just to fight Daki.
Yeah.
So that one moment of clarity where she realized, oh, my family's gone. Like,
yeah.
You're right. That was heartache. Absolute, just heartbreaking. And I'm assuming that, because I remember you told me, and I know this might be like, you know, slight spoilers for the future, there is a point where Nezuko, excuse me? Nezuko can talk, but she talks like a 5-year-old, I think is what you told me. So, out of curiosity, how close are we to that point where Nezuko can like eventually like talk normally?
It's literally the next arc.
So it's in the Swordsmith Village. Oh, okay, cool. Bet. I can't wait now. Oh man, season 3, I'm so ready for it. But no, so continuing on. You're right. But then after she gets put back to sleep, now we're coming to the movie. I know
you're gonna keep doing that, aren't you?
I'm gonna keep throwing shade because info table. What were you thinking? We're gonna make a movie. Oh, bet this is gonna be awesome, right? It's gonna take place, you know, going into the Swordsmith Village. It's the Swordsmith Village. Why was 2/3 of it the freaking entertainment district? Why are you doing this, info table?
But it is interesting, the fact that when it can't, because literally when Tanjiro is like going up against Gyutaro, right? And there's a moment where Tanjiro stops because he's about to cut Gyutaro's head, and he literally stops. And he said he's looking at Gyutaro, and he says, "I could have been you." And he says, "Our roles could have been reversed." Meaning, if Tanjiro did take a demon up on his offer to be turned into a demon along with Nezuko, the same situation that's going on between Gyutaro and Daki is probably the same thing that would have been going on with Nezuko and Tanjiro.
Definitely. And this is like the perfect arc to show that, because it is a brother and sister duo. And, you know, Gyutaro is just like, I let my sister be the face and everything, and I am just her support. The roles are a little bit reversed because, you know, it's Daki mainly doing the things, while for Tanjiro, it's Tanjiro doing everything while Nezuko is the support.
Yeah.
But this is interesting because I feel like if Tanjiro, I know technically, if we know the manga, my statement right now is freaking disgusting. But if Tanjiro was to have became a demon, I feel like he still would have been in the face while making sure absolutely nothing happens to Nezuko. So he would have done all the fighting, would have been the one to do everything for her while she just chills out in the shadows.
Yeah, probably.
So it's very interesting seeing this.
And then now, the one thing that I just thought of is when so, you know, it's like right after both the heads of Gyutaro and Daki get severed, right? And the moment they start arguing with each other, and at this point you have baby Nezuko, and, you know, she's running over to Tanjiro and everything. And at this moment, you know, when Tanjiro's hearing them argue, he covers up Gyutaro's mouth and he goes, "You don't mean it."
Yeah.
You know, you shouldn't say that about your sibling, because the one thing Gyutaro said was, you know, we aren't even siblings. You aren't actually my real sister. You don't even remember my real sister's name. And then, you
Ugh.
know, and then before Daki disappears, he says Ume, and then it goes into the flashback, and I was like, oh
And that's,
snap.
like I said, we're back to what Demon Slayer does to me. That freaking tortures me every day is the fact that they make me absolutely despise the demons. But then the manga, technically the mangaka, is just kind of like, let me remind you that they were once human. Here's their backstory. And I'm just kind of like, dag nabbit.
I think that's the good thing that Gotege did was to show us that they were human,
And they
because
were
you know,
once human.
you when you see them as a demon, you're like, oh, they're demons, they're the big bad villains, they're the villain of the week, we got to take them out. But
And
then
then
once you see,
you have to be reminded that demons are born from humans and they got into these circumstances because of something. And
Mhm.
then, he's just kind of like, here, let's talk about their backstory real quick. And I'm just like, I think this is like the hardest I've cried at a demon slayer, like at a demon's death in Demon Slayer so far.
The
And
first
what
time
made
you cried was when it came
no, I
to
said
the
the
arm.
hardest,
Okay, I thought you
the
said the first.
hardest.
I thought you said the
Yeah.
first I've cried. I was about to be like, no, the first time you cried was at the arm demon.
Yeah, no, the arm demon, that made me sad. Ray made me devastated, but Gitaro and Daki, oh no, I freaking was a mess at their death. Even to the very end, where Gitaro literally was just like, I will take on all of our sins because I want my sister to have a better afterlife. And she
Mhm.
literally said, she's like, you idiot, don't you remember what you told me? We're in this together. And I was just like, Docky, no.
Because he was literally like, you know, I want you to go to you. I want you to go to heaven. I'll go to
Well, he
hell.
was trying to do it
And
in a very, I don't want to be with you,
no,
go.
I know, but it was just the fact of like,
He
even
was
when
still
you
trying to keep
see
up that
them,
facade, yeah.
like when you see them in the afterlife, and you know, he's like, go the other direction. He's like, don't follow me. And then, you know, and she's like, no, I'm going to follow you. You know, we promised each other. And, you know, it was that, I mean, it was still a touching moment, the fact that they walked together in hell, but I was just like, sweet nonetheless, but golly, you go to get, you know how to pull on a person's heartstrings.
And because it makes me like, this is one thing that this anime has done so well. It's just like make me hate somebody so much, but then feel bad because yeah, they done irreparable damage. Like they've caused so much havoc that yeah, they need to go to hell, but you feel bad because you're like, this was the fact that they got into the circumstances was none of their own making. Like for Yuchiro and Daki, I can't remember their human names. I know Ume. I
Mm-hmm.
can't remember if Yuchiro ever said what his human name was.
I don't think they said what Gyutro's name was.
Because I know basically he said that he was worthless anyway, so it didn't even matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so sad because their human life, all the odds were stacked against them. The only thing that was like the shining light in their thing was Ume, because she was the prettiest and stuff like that. A guy wanted to court her and
It was a samurai who wanted to, and
yeah,
you know, apparently he did something to Ume, and then Ume didn't like it, so she took
she
the
killed.
hair. Well, she took the hairpin and she stabbed him in the eye. She didn't kill him. She stabbed him in the eye.
But then they tried to burn her.
And for that, then the guy burned Ume alive, and while human Gyutaro was doing his thing as a debt collector.
Yeah.
it got to a point where he came back home and, he sees Ume's body. And he is like, who did this to you? And because she was still breathing.
Yeah.
And, he cried over her body and everything. And then he took the little sickle that he had. And when he found the dude, he was like, you did this to my sister. And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then the way how it was executed, what I would say was flawless. Animation wise, the fact of like Yutaro was just like, I ain't having it. I'm gonna just take you out. And then he took the lady out that was next to him. And you're just like, oh, okay, cool. And then you get introduced to Doma, and Doma is the dude that we saw during the movie.
Yeah, this is the movie.
And so when it came to Doma, he was like, hey, yo, like, I can turn you into a demon. And the thing is that when Doma showed up, he literally had, because he had a woman's leg.
Yeah, he was eating.
He was carrying a woman, and I think I know who that woman was.
It wasn't Inosuke's mom.
It might have been Inosuke's mom.
Ah, dang. Because I remember that Inosuke's mom was in the same cult that Doma ran.
Mm-hmm.
But that's explained a little bit later on in the series.
But so after he gets turned into a demon, then he turns Ume into a demon, being Daki, and yeah.
And I don't know how they came up with the thing that Yutaro is going to live inside Daki. Daki gets to do whatever she wants. I mean, because that's how he lived.
Oh no, because it was the fact of even Muzan said it. He was like, even after they got decapitated and everything, and they left, he was like, yeah, Daki was worthless.
Yeah,
he said Daki was worthless, but Yutaro was the main threat.
Yeah,
he said
was the only reason.
He said without Yutaro, I would have never had Daki join.
Yikes.
So yeah.
But I mean, that's pretty much the ending. I mean, unfortunately, I can't really say too much about the ending because I've said what I really meant about the ending back when I watched the movie.
Nezuko is able to use her freaking blood demon art to heal people of poison,
which was so funny because she just ran up to Uzumi and she just set him on fire, and the wives lost their minds
because they were like, we're not trying to cremate him. And then he was like, because I felt bad for Uzumi because he was trying to tell his wives what was most important before the poison took effect, and they weren't listening. And then when Nezuko comes over and sets him on fire, they're like, we don't need to cremate him yet. And then when he actually came back, and he was like, oh, the poison's gone.
The poison, it's gone. Oh, but he has to retire because he made that promise of, hey, once we fight an upper ranked demon, do you think we could just retire and live our lives? He did it, one, I think mainly for that, but two, also for practical reasons. He lost his arm.
Yeah.
He can't fight anymore.
I mean, he still could, but I feel like it'd be better for him to just retire. He went out on a high note. On a high note. What the heck is a high note?
I was about to say, Wes, English is not our first language, apparently.
Golly. I'm just throwing words left and right, aren't I?
But I would say this is pretty much the end of the episode, of our episode, because, I mean, like I said a lot of my feelings towards the ending, and I feel like I'll just be rehashing. So if you guys want to know, like, my initial reactions to the ending, because, like I said, the movie, I watched the movie, that will never stop being the absolute bane of my existence, is the fact that UFO Table was like, we're going to make a movie. We're going to call it The Swordsmith Village. You know what? We're just going to take the last 2 episodes of season 2 and put that in with the first episode of season 1. Yes, perfect. This is the movie. And I was like, This ain't a movie.
Mm-hmm.
You're just showing me what happens in the last 2 episodes.
Right.
UFO table.
But yeah, if you guys want to listen to that, that is episode 23, which should already be up on Podbean.
Yeah. And is it on YouTube yet?
Probably not. I'm still in the middle of working out different things.
Gotcha. So it's definitely up on Podbean. It'll be out on YouTube sometime in the near future, or maybe it'll be out before.
Maybe it might be on YouTube. Just check. It might be in the anime discussion playlist. So, but other than that, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you thought about us and our conversation about the not Swordsmith Village arc, the entertainment district.
And also keep your eye out for future updates when it comes to especially the YouTube channel. Like I said, I am trying to get back into animations and stuff like that. So I'm hoping to have a couple of things done for the underground. I was about to say the underground district. Oh my god, the
underground district. What we went from being a geek shack to a district. Okay, what are we? District 12.
Dude, we are upgrading, y'all. But no, for the underground geek shack, I'm planning to hopefully have some things out for that. So keep your eyes open.
Cool.
But until then,
said, we hope you've enjoyed your visit to the underground
geek shack. See ya.
See you guys.
Maestro.